Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon whenever you're watching this. Today, we are going to be discussing a little bit about Roman religion. Okay, now the whole purpose of this learning target is to uncover why or how religions not only develop, but how they influence the lives of their people. We're going to spend a lot of time this year talking about different religions, and the Roman religions are the first ones that we're going to focus on. Now, today we're going to focus on traditional, ancient Roman beliefs. We're not going to jump into Christianity quite yet. That comes next. But for now, we're just discussing traditional Roman religions. All right, so here goes lesson 2. First things first. There's 3 gods and goddesses listed here below. Take a second. Try to guess. Who do you think these are? Maybe you're familiar with the Greek gods and goddesses. Maybe you're not. Take a look. Take a second to guess. I'll give you a moment. Now let's move on. So, early Roman beliefs. A majority of early Romans were polytheistic, meaning they believed in more than one god or goddess. We're going to talk about Christianity. We're going to mention Judaism. These are monotheistic religions, meaning there is only one God. Polytheistic means you believe in multiple, more than one or many. So the Romans, the Greeks, the Hindus, these are all examples of polytheistic religions. Now, I gave you a second earlier to go ahead and look at these pictures to try and figure out who's who. We'll start with this one right here. This is Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is the god of the sky. I'm going to talk about how these gods came to be, or how the Romans came up with them in just a moment, and how they came up with their names, but just give me 1 second. This middle one here, this is Juno. And to the right here, we have Minerva. Now, where did these gods and goddesses come from? That's a great question. Let's find out here. So you'll see this map. Our last lesson, we spent so much time talking about the geography and how geography influences the lives of its people. Geography influences through trade. And through trade, not only do you get goods and items, but you can also get things such as religions and beliefs. So check this out. Many of the early Roman beliefs were influenced by the Greeks. Beliefs came through trade and interaction with other cultures, and the Romans simply changed certain aspects to fit their way of life. Now look at this map right here. You have Greece. And remember, Rome is just right over here. It's just across the sea. They carried those beliefs over, and they tweaked them a little bit. Some of you may be familiar with Zeus. Zeus is the Greek god. The Romans changed his name to Jupiter. Some of you may be familiar with Hera. The Romans changed Hera's name to Juno, and she is the goddess of women. Others of you may be familiar with Athena. Athena, the goddess of wisdom. The Romans changed her name to Minerva, who is also the goddess of wisdom. They are counterparts, and the Romans took these beliefs and changed them ever so slightly to fit their specific way of life. Now, why? Why even believe? How do these beliefs influence people's lives? Well, let's talk about that. The Romans believed that the gods played a critical role in establishing the Roman world and the systems of government. The Romans believed that the gods were in the sky and they played an active role. They could twist things, change things, adopt things, create things that changed the landscape of civilization. Some of you may be familiar with the term of demigod. There are some Roman demigods. Now, the people would worship and pray to these gods for wisdom, for advice, for good fortune, whatever they possibly could need. As is the case for many, many, many religious beliefs. If you believe in something, oftentimes people will say that that gives them a purpose. Some of you have maybe heard that before. Their beliefs give them purpose, a sense of belonging. So those are some of the details that I want you to know before we continue working on how do religions influence our lives.